So do we?
Don't touch it.
Yeah. Well, we're getting feedback through the phone.
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Hello. We can hear you.
Okay, great.
Is it loud enough? Thank you, thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. You're welcome.
Make that louder.
You're coming out of the ceiling.
That's the way it's supposed to be.
Okay. Let's get started. Thank you all for coming today. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Energy Advisory Commission and acknowledge that we have folks in West Hawaii today, as well as here in Hilo, on the commission attending this meeting. Let's just do a quick identification of everyone on the commission who's here, as well as the guests. We'll just go around the room. I'll start with myself, Steve Burns.
Mike Kaliki.
Julie Myrie.
David Yamamoto.
Darren Takiwe.
Cleveland Honma.
Tame Goya.
Curtis Beck. Todd Kadimi.
Kerri Marks.
Randy Kurohara.
Yana Sako. Betsy Cole. No hair pressure.
Great. You folks in Kona, did you go yet?
No, I thought. This is Rod Hinman.
And Linda Anthony, and for the record, I want to disclose that as of last Friday, Shell Vacations was acquired by Wyndham Vacations, so it's now a publicly held company. I know that's important to some people to have that disclosure on.
Great, thank you. Right. Great. Thank you all for coming. Just quickly to review the agenda, and then we're going to move forward into the agenda. We're going to do today some updates from Will when he arrives. We're going to take things out of order in our agenda today to be respectful to some of the folks who came to give us presentations. Under old business, we have updates regarding the proposed revisions to the plan developed by the Kohala Center for the county. And under new business, and this is where I'd like to start when we get into the actual details of our agenda today, is an overview and review of the energy budgeting process for some of the selected departments at the county. And we have a few folks here who are going to share some information with us about that. In addition, in the new business area, we're going to talk about, from a commission perspective, whether or not we want to produce any kind of end of the year or end of our term report and what that development process might look like. And then, should we have time available, we can move into the energy forum planning area. So that is essentially the agenda that we've got laid out for us today. Let's take any statements from the public. Does anyone from the public want to make a statement? Okay, Kerri?
Thank you, Mr. Steve. I would just like to state for the record that I'd like to be added to the mailing list for agendas and minutes and any other communications that are publicly available, please. I signed up in April in Honoka'a, but I haven't gotten anything since then. So my email's over there. And check me out if you need more info.
I apologize.
That's okay. Thank you, Dot. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay, let's move on to the approval of minutes. In this circumstance, we have 3 different meetings that we've all had an opportunity to review the minutes for. Some of these have been deferred from past meetings for various reasons. And so let's take these one at a time. Can I hear a motion to approve the minutes from April 26th?
I move we approve the minutes of April 26th.
Is there a second?
So moved.
Any discussion regarding changes to the minutes or corrections to the minutes from April 26th? Anybody have anything to note there? No? Hearing nothing? Move to approve. Everyone in favor of approving the minutes as provided by Dot for April 26th EAC meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that April 26th minutes is approved. Let's move on to the June 20th minutes. Can I have a motion to accept those minutes?
So
To
moved.
accept the minutes from June 20th.
Second?
Second the motion.
Any discussion regarding corrections, changes, modifications to June 20th minutes?
Just one. And I already talked to Scott about this, the header on top of the page says Hawaii Public Utilities Commission, rather than EAC.
Yes, and that was, resubmitted to everyone once he called me on that.
Right.
And I don't know how that happened, because we don't do anything for them. So anyhow, but it's definitely, when I handed out the ones in the Honoka, it had the correct
Right.
header. I think it was, the email, the electronic version, but that's taken care of.
Okay, that correction noted and taken care of, can we have a vote to approve the minutes from June 20th? Everyone in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, approval of the minutes from June 20th is accepted. And lastly, let's look at the minutes from July 25th. Can I have a motion to approve those minutes?
Approve the minutes of July 25th.
A second? Anybody second?
Second the motion.
Okay. Any discussion about the minutes from July 25th?
Just have one teeny tiny correction on page 15. The third bullet point says, has the word include, but it should be increase.
Got it, thank you.
Thanks, Scott.
I had I wanted to make a comment about those minutes. And I was really impressed with the accuracy of the comments, as noted in the minutes, in all of these meetings. But as we were aware of, unfortunately, there were some problems with the recorder at times during that meeting. And this happened during my comments regarding the review of the sustainability plan. And I noted that in the minutes, you borrowed from the notes that were taken by Will to fill in that section. And since I do feel like my comments were significant and somewhat different than most of the other comments, I think I'd like to see if there were a way for them to be equally reflected in terms of accuracy. And maybe they could be better captured in terms of that particular section when the recorder went out by using the video from the Occupy folks that was posted on YouTube. And so I don't know if you've looked at that or had a chance to.
I don't go on YouTube, but I can.
Did you know if the audio came out on that? I didn't look at that. But
It's a big room, and so it was echoey, but it is. If you have a good set of noise-canceling headphones, you can hear it okay. But it is difficult.
If it's possible, I'd like that section just for accuracy's sake to reflect actually what my comments were, and it's just for that one section, and that's if it's possible. So
And where would that be in here? I'm sorry.
I can point that out to you later. If you want to hand that to me, I didn't bring my copy.
Oh, I just.
Oh, you have one? Did you hand us one? Okay.
Yeah, no
All
problem.
right, I'll get you this spot here. It was noted that the recorder went out.
Right, and then those highlighted areas are. It stopped at many different times in between other people's statements as well. So please feel free to correct Tommy, Julie, if there was any comments that I missed.
Okay, so it looks like it's on page 12
Okay.
where it begins with my comments.
Yes, and a lot of these were taken off of notes, that's correct. So this section, so from 11
Just
on
that
to
one,
12. huh?
that one section on
Okay.
page 12.
So we'll, so the next meeting, we will have a new set of minutes, or I'll
If
send
it's
that out
possible to update that.
Okay,
portion.
I will do my best with, I'll get that link from you.
I'm gonna resend it to you right now, baby. It'll be top of the stack.
Thank you.
Right on.
Thank you, Kerri.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
that. And so with that said, we are going to look at the possibility of revising these minutes. Are there any other revisions that anyone wants to suggest?
I just noted that, which only version that I have has the PUC at the top of the page as well. Just want to.
Yeah. Yeah, this one, I mean,
Okay.
yeah, so it's
You're
only
aware of
something,
that.
I'm aware of that.
Okay. All right, very good. Let's move on in the agenda. And at this point, I'd like to take things out of order to be respectful to the folks who came to share some information with us today from some of the other county departments. And just as an intro, and I'm not sure who all is here, we asked David Yamamoto, that's you, okay, Clayton Honma, okay, and Diana Sacco, okay. Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate you helping us to understand what the budgeting process is in your individual department areas and for the county as a whole when it comes to specifically energy. And our focus, obviously, as a commission is on energy improvements and energy initiatives, especially those that can be implemented, which will ultimately have a return yearly, every year to the county because of the efficiency savings that are introduced. And so we thought and had some previous discussions among ourselves as a commission, learning about, for example, $4 million that was kind of appropriated as we understood it for energy improvements, and some of that money's been sitting in different areas, and very little has been used as we understand it at this point. And that's what piqued our interest in terms of inquiring about the process. But beyond that, I think just for our knowledge and our ability to make recommendations to the mayor about how energy initiatives get pursued in the county, it'd be really helpful to understand the process that you guys go through in consideration of energy initiatives versus all the other things that you need to deal with in your department. So with that said, I don't know, did you guys come with any kind of presentation that you want to give, or do you want to just have us ask you questions? So I thought we were gonna have a presentation.
I don't think we asked them to go.
Oh, okay.
So mainly just to be present, and maybe the commissioners can ask them some questions on how they go about planning their projects.
Okay, let's take it one by one then, just to go through the different departmental areas. And I'll just start off and then let everybody else on the commission chime in with their questions as well. What is the process that your department uses for budgeting? And are there any policies that exist that would prioritize energy-related expenditures that could offer a return to the county? We'll start with David, I guess.
Can you repeat that again?
Yeah, what is the process that your department uses for budgeting? And are there any policies that exist that might prioritize energy-related expenditures, which could offer a return to the county?
Okay, process for budgeting, basically we have a ongoing repair maintenance facilities. And we go over and review the building, as far as, how we can improve the energy efficiency at that point, whether they be replacing the air conditioning, increasing insulation.
Can you give any specifics of things that you've done so far?
Well, like this county building, we replaced the air conditioning system, we, uh, installed insulation in the roofing, in the roof. That'll be one, of the projects that we did. Another one that we're looking at is the, public safety building. We're gonna go in there, here soon. They do have an old air conditioning system, and we'll probably be looking through their insulation as well. So we typically have, just, projected budgets that we had anticipated using when we go to these various facilities, to do these repair maintenance and or, ADA compliance, projects.
So David, when you're working on these projects and purchasing like a huge air conditioner, I'm just curious, do you coordinate with Will on that at all? Is he involved in the process?
Well, on this building, I think Will wasn't on board at that point when we started the design for this building, so we had a consultant look at the system. And basically, the chiller was still okay, and we just replaced the, cooling tower. And so in future projects, we would include Will, especially, something as large as the, public safety building, which uses a lot of energy because they are a 24/7 operation. And so their electric bill is huge there. And, so at one time too, we were installing, photovoltaic on buildings, like this building, we have a 100 kW system. On the Waimea Fire and Police Station, we put in, I think, a 50 and a 38 kW system. On the Kohala Police Station that we recently built, we put in a, I think was a 30-something kW system there, 32 kW system there. But we've since been told by Will that it's not, to our economic advantage to be installing PVs, so we discontinued that for a while to hear more from Will and as far as how we should go and utilize this money, since he feels that the, county actually purchasing the, photovoltaic systems are, not economically feasible, being that we do not take advantage of the tax, incentives.
How long has the air conditioning and insulation been in place?
This building was reopened in 2009, I believe.
But you guys probably have data comparing what the costs are today, with the
No, we haven't, but we could, although it's a lot different because, there's a lot more people now in the building, so it's hard to compare.
And the other thing was you put in the photovoltaic at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I guess what I'm saying, you know what the electrical, like the energy cost was before on the applications.
Yeah, we can probably get that information.
You guys hear us okay?
Yeah, pretty much, but somebody had asked a question, it might have been Julie, I'm not sure, and I couldn't hear the question.
It was, yeah. It's.
Oh, that's good.
Sounds like Julie.
Just in case.
Step up to the mic.
There's no mic. Go ahead, Dan.
No, I think we were just clarifying the photovoltaic went in at the same time, so.
Yeah.
But, I think Diana and her folks can pull together that information.
Yeah, they probably have historic, records of what we used to pay for electricity on this building and what we pay now.
And that's really an important part of installation of energy efficiency, is to have because it's a real story to tell. There are savings involved, and there's a message that you need to send to the public as well as the workers, the effort being done and the consciousness of the decision making. So it's really, really important that this be done.
Since 2009, have you received any incentive payments from Hawaii Energy for any of your energy efficiency improvements?
No, I don't think so.
You know, I think I'm gonna add to, I think for the Westoy Civic Center, I believe we got some funds back. If I'm not mistaken, we had listed, you know, the amount of things that were installed, the kind of equipment for the Westway Civic Center. I'm not sure about this, but I know for that one.
And it kind of fits in with Tom's comment is that by going through that program, they will then follow up and do some measurement and evaluation.
I think Will has more information on that piece.
So I want to come back to the $4 million. My understanding was that resides in Public Works as capital improvement monies, is that right?
Right.
Could you give us a status update as to what the plans are for that?
Like I explained, we have this upcoming project that we're working on, the public safety building. We're gonna look at the air conditioning and insulation and other areas that we could possibly install some energy reduction measures.
So is that money then being held specifically for energy improvements or for various projects? It is.
There's actually a specific line item, the formula you're referring to, I don't know that it actually has an appropriation, but it's in the bond ordinance.
Yeah, we have appropriations.
But not, is it called energy improvement or is it part of your other ones?
It's part of the DP, well, I have a, appropriation called DPW Energy.
Okay, but in the bond appropriation itself or ordinance is where it specifically has the formula for energy improvements that David utilizes as he goes out and does these other projects. And because that bond ordinance is very specific and detailed out, that won't go away unless amended by the county council.
You mean it'll always be dedicated to energy? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
So you look for energy projects as you go in order to expend those monies? Is that how it works? Is there a process involved where you somehow rank or prioritize the projects?
Not necessarily ranking. Although we would target the larger facilities that use a lot of energy and how we can reduce their energy consumption. Police being one, because they are 24/7 operation, they tend to have their air conditioning systems on 24/7, which is a high cost. So that's where we target like the air conditioning system and the insulation of the building to reduce the energy consumption.
Yes, do you work with Will at all in terms of the analysis of potential opportunities with respect to how that money might get used?
Well, I spoke with him on several occasions, and he did have, we were looking at one time having a third party solar photovoltaic for some of these larger facilities like the public safety building. Just a rough estimate on, I think I made a rough estimate based on their roof area. We could probably install a 200 kW system on that facility of the various roofs in that complex. What else did we look at? We looked at the Taylor Katy police station. So we, and also the South Eagle base yard, which is right there next to Gulf. They have a lot of roof area, although they don't have a lot of need for power. But we all did look at, we looked at those facilities as possibly having a third party type contract.
If you have a third party contract, that wouldn't be applicable for the use of the capital improvement monies, right? Isn't that just an operational expense?
Well,
I don't think so. I mean, the third party is, they put up the money, and that's,
They're gonna sell you the energy.
yeah,
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, we wouldn't pay for the electric or whatever the agreement might be, but if there is any, upfront type, expenditures to, um, facilitate, installation of the system, you know, that may qualify for the CFP funds that we do have for that.
So just to be clear, you mentioned that Will basically said it's not economically advantageous for the county to directly own the PV systems, but an alternative approach whereby you work with a third-party provider and they sell the energy makes more sense because they can use the tax credits and it's a better deal. So is that your policy pretty much that's in place now? Is that you're not looking to own any PV systems, but rather work with third-party providers for whatever facilities might be applicable?
I wouldn't say it's a policy. I mean, if there is a project that, you know, in discussing with Will, you know, that, you know, a third party would probably not be interested. Although we did also discuss where the third party comes in and looks at all of the various sites and put it in all of our, you know, with the various police and fire stations, use their space, but it might be small systems just specific for those particular facilities. We also discussed something like that where, for a third party. So we haven't ruled out, actually using, that funds to purchase photovoltaic systems for the county, but, I guess, you know, we would want to take advantage of the more, you know, suited way to go about it to save money.
Well, is there a deadline for using those funds?
No, because we changed our way of borrowing, so even though we have the ordinance, we don't actually borrow the money or go and float the bonds until the money is spent. And so as such time as David, you know, has the project or is doing another project and incorporates those funds, then it would be utilized at that time. So it's not like we have arbitrage or other difference to that time.
When you consider the various kinds of projects that might be possible on different facilities that you're looking at renovating or whatever, do you go through a process to determine what you might get the most bang for your buck with in terms of an energy investment?
Yeah, if there's competing projects for the money, we would have to evaluate which project would give the big bang for the buck. But at current, we haven't had, you know, that many projects that come about that have where it's competing for the whole $1 million that we, you know, at that point depleted to, you know, where we don't have enough funds to do all the projects that we're looking at.
Yeah, let's open this up. I don't want to ask all the questions. I know everyone else has questions as well. Anyone in Kona have some questions?
For Diana, and I'm sorry, I couldn't see you, so now I can see you. And if this was in the question for Steve, I apologize, it's a little harder to follow. But for the $4 million, you said it's in a bond. Is that, it cannot be repurposed for anything at all other than energy efficient city projects, would that be correct?
It cannot, as the bond ordinance is currently written, but it could be amended from time to time. I can't imagine people or the council wanting to take action to amend energy efficient projects out of there, given that it's a mayor and county council priority.
Okay, thank you. And I actually have another question for David, and I think it ties to something Tommy was saying, but I don't know that there was a question. What kind of active training do you have for your staff to make sure that their awareness and their actions and decisions are all tied to energy efficiency throughout their day?
Well, we attend these training sessions regarding the energy code and the as well as the building code requirement for the various R values that are required to be installed for reducing heat transfer. So we have training there's, well, I mean, would be good if we could, have a heads up of it, training, available training, but there's not, I haven't seen too many come by, our way, notifying us that there's this training on building energy efficiency that is in Hilo, especially on island at least, because, our budgets are quite tight and we don't have money to travel to the mainland or the outer island to receive training. So we would look for more training opportunities that come to the Big Island.
Other questions from the commissioners?
I just
Betsy?
want-
Sorry, Rod?
I just wanted to ask, make sure that everyone speaks up when they speak. The system seems to have a lower threshold, and when you get below a certain level, it cuts out completely, and we can't hear anything. So most of the time it's okay, but occasionally, Mr. Yamamoto and Ms. Sacco have been a little bit lower than that threshold. It's kind of hard. Maybe I don't understand. I can see your mouth moving, but I can't know what you're saying.
Okay,
They also have Parks and Recreation, they might want to.
yeah, we're gonna, we'll get to that. Sorry,
I just
Betsy.
want to make a quick comment, that, I think that Hawaii Energy should be requested to come over and train, they exist for some of these purposes of training, building managers. And I have seen that they do workshops, but possibly not targeted, for you guys in Hilo. But I would certainly advocate with you, for Hawaii Energy to provide that service.
Okay, that'd be great.
Okay, and I'll talk to, the local representative about that, if you want, and then they'll get in touch with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'm gonna move on also, because we haven't looked at Parks and Rec yet, and wanted to get back to some more questions in finance area.
I'll just make a comment.
Yes.
The one big training is, the Certified Energy Manager training, which did come to the King Cam. Julie Myrie, attended. It's a very intensive course, so if we do send someone, it'll be an intensive week. It should most likely be an engineer. It's very, the material's doable, but they are 12-hour days, just so that everyone's aware of that.
To be honest, I think that's like I don't say dumbed down, but more for a worker person than a leader person.
Yeah, we're trying to work with National Renewable Energy Lab to do more of a Hawaii County specific. They work with DBED, so we've been trying to co-tell with the State Energy Office to get a more dumbed down.
Apologize for that term.
But,
Don't put it in the minutes.
but the CEN is very worthwhile as long as we have someone who can dedicate a week of their life with definitely 3 hours a month study.
Okay. I've got one other question regarding, recommendations made by the green team. You guys look at that or refer to that or work with that in any way in terms of helping guide the areas that you work on?
The green team hasn't really been active in the last year.
No, but there was a report that was produced that made a series of recommendations for the county to pursue, right?
Right, the Vision
Yeah.
2015 Green Government
Yeah.
Action Plan. That, so what's your question, Steve?
Well, my question was for David.
No, I think I can answer that. I think that report went to the mayor's office,
Yeah.
and it hasn't yet, because of the way to implement it, hasn't gone down to the rest of the departments yet, so it may as well, I think it's still there.
Okay.
I don't think the departments have seen it or have been tasked to follow it yet.
And there's parts of it in this draft, energy sustainability plan as well, I've seen.
Yeah, but to be specific, the lowest hanging fruit ones, like the LED light program, which is to do the first 1,000 lights and then expand them to 40,000. The ones that really have the highest value are some departments that we haven't been able to work as integrated with. Department of Public Works and us have worked very well on things like the West Hawaii Civic Center and what is the right EV project. But as far as reaching into the other departments, besides the Department of Water Supply, which obviously, work closely together, we need to continue that. So we have hired and have been training a sustainability coordinator to replace Alex, and that is her main focus. So right now she's working with Hawaii Energy to find the highest rebate areas, such as the Department of Parks and Recs pools that need pump upgrades from the Alex Woodbury audit done 2 years ago. So we're trying to stay in a deployable mindset. So if Randy wants to talk about our new sustainability coordinator and training, that's fine. But I can tell you that we are attacking the programs that seem to be the best bang for the buck right now.
Before you were here, if I just can reiterate, when we were talking to David, we were talking about the fact that when he's making these decisions of purchases to make of air conditioners and any sort of energy using things, you need to be part of that process. And it sounds like you have been, but I think it's important for us to know that you're being utilized in those decisions.
Right, and we can also rely on Hawaii Energy, who is statewide and has engineers that formerly work for the utility and will tell us where the highest rebate areas are as well, so that we can make an economic decision as well.
I think if I had it right, I think David was saying we really haven't so far taken advantage of rebates, but I think maybe they can be filed for retroactively. I don't think the train is pulled out.
We tried to retroactively get the Hilo County retrofit, and we weren't able to. We get the West Hawaii Civic Center chiller efficiency rebate. Julie was successful in, was it 2 rebates, Julie, for your chiller retrofits?
Yeah, I think we got 3 for our air conditioning system at the main office there, and then we received several for just really small air conditioners at our base yards, where we've replaced them within the base yards. I think we've gotten about 6 of those, and a refrigerator.
Right. So our sustainability coordinator in training is working with Hawaii Energy, Carl and Carl, to identify those projects. So for instance, on the LED installation, which is 1,000 lamps first, and hopefully 40 to 50,000 area, and street lamps next, we are going to apply for a rebate for the installation because we're doing all that installation using county labor. And by the way, this island did get a surplus from Hawaii Energy versus the other years where we didn't. So we actually, they actually spent more money here than our island equity was stated.
All that effort paid off, Will.
Yeah, a little bit of squeaky wheel. I gotta still mend some of those fences because we went after them pretty hard.
Good job.
Sorry, Tommy was all for it, but Hawaii is all about relationships too. So I always make sure to say hi to Ray Starling.
Okay, thank you, Will and David. Clayton, could you give us some insight as to your department and how you deal with energy?
Well, this is Darren Pakiwi. He's our business manager as well too, and I was hoping to bring James Komata, who does the CIP side for us, much like David represents us. But some of the things that like Will mentioned about our pools as being an area of concern that burns and uses a lot of electricity. We've been looking into. We brought in some vendors to take a look at our pools and do an assessment on putting in VFDs or variable frequency drives, to reduce the amount of the pool pumps from running at a high speed at a constant level. So that being said, I think we have some RFPs being written up, because I think, that a significant savings, for the county, as well as a significant reduction in energy use can be made, primarily at our pools. And, that is through our operational side, and we're kind of, looking at the assessment and saying that the amount that we can be saved by putting these in, we're willing to put the money up front and pay for it through some of the cost savings that we're gonna be receiving through that. So, in this current fiscal budget that we're doing right now, that's one of the areas that we are addressing as far as, energy efficiency goes. As far as CIP projects, our, guys are much in the same boat like David, although we don't have, a $4 million bond that we can address, energy efficiency within our facilities as we do build them, though. We do take into consideration, about being energy efficient and the maintenance issues that come with it later and the cost to run the facility. So, as you see our covered clay court that's in there, the lighting is all LED lights that came in, so we could run it much cheaper. It was designed with skylights so we don't have to run as much lighting throughout the day to light the facility. Again, insulation was put in to keep that place much cooler, and the design was such that, air runs through the building, forces the hot air out, and, air gets vacuumed out. So that place is much cooler in the building than it is outside the building, when you get in there. So, those considerations are put into place, as we're repairing and, fixing facilities. As you look at our Waimea ballpark lights, we installed more energy efficient lights. They've just been turned on for about a month now, but we are gonna take a look at the study and see how much it costs to run those lights now as compared to what it was in the past. And I don't know what else we could
We also, I don't know if it was last fiscal year or a little while before that, we did have an energy consultant come through and go through our facilities. So one of the things we did do was made our staff aware of where they're burning up a lot of energy, so they know where to, decrease, turn off the lights if you have to, or, monitor the things. And if there wasn't using a fridge in a facility, we took it out, and, we did that kind of stuff. But it just didn't replace things that weren't being used.
We put timing systems on most of our lights, so they just shut off at a specific time, so you can't overrun using those lights for the ballparks beyond, I think, 10 o'clock in the evening. They just shut off, and it's also part of the lighting ordinance that is out there for Mauna Kea, actually, to have those lights cut off at a certain time. So kind of serves us both with cost savings as well as compliant, being compliant. But yeah, the last several budget cycles have been really tough on us, and a lot of our savings came through energy savings within our department, being just more energy efficient.
So when you look at energy savings from measures that you introduce in your budget, how do you deal with that? Do you look at like you're recapturing some of that money and you get to use it the following year, or how do you deal with that from a budget perspective?
No, I think we've been, like at the pools, we did put in several, DFDs already. And what we did was in some cases, we gambled that the savings would be there and it would come out ahead throughout the year. And that's actually what happened. There was savings that we could spend the money on that we already spent the money on to cover for the cost of what happened. But going forward.
Yeah, budget-wise, we're at a status quo budget. So what we do is when we have savings, there's always things that come up that we put off that still needs to be done. So we use it for those things, like if we have funds to do a termite or do something to a building or buy new equipment, we'll use the money that way. But most of the time we do use it for other energy efficient stuff. So for example, the pumps, we are going to be putting in more pumps this year, VFDs. So that's the big project we're looking at this year, we're trying to do all our pools and get them fitted with this.
Yeah, and once we do even like our football pool renovation, which is coming up, that'll be all included in the process, running VFDs and also solar heating for the showers. I mean, we went to the extent of even turning off all the hot water in our showers, at our pools island wide. And we took a number of complaints for that, but it's one of those things. I mean, our budget was just that tight. Since then we've been all right so far, but yeah, like Darren said, most of the stuff has been rolled over into buying things like PFDs going into other pools as well too.
So, the renovation for Kohala Pool, about approximately how much is budgeted to do the renovation?
Roughly about, I'd say about $1 million to do the renovation.
A substantial renovation.
Yeah, because really you gotta move the location of the pump. There's some things that we gotta go and dig into to find out a couple of leaks. I believe there was an expansion of the surge tank that we have to do, and so every time that there's a knock up on power, restarting the pumps has been the challenge, and priming the pumps because there's not enough water in the surge tanks has also been a challenge to getting the pool started back up again. We're gonna address some major issues that were issues from the beginning of construction of the pool. The design was just bad and the location of the pumps. So we're gonna address those concerns right now. I mean, actually, it's our second largest, second busiest pool, I should say, is Kohala, or even busier than what we have here in Eagle.
Going back to my other comment, regarding measurement and evaluation, continuous monitoring becomes important because we need to tell a story at some point in time, and hopefully sooner than later. It's easier to tell a story than the answer question, really, as to where the savings are occurring and how they are occurring. And if you have the information, it's easier to go forward with your budget request to show where you're demonstrating your savings, how important it is, and you've got other project plans for energy savings. And my other comment is that we claim to be a leader in renewable resources and opportunities and technology, and there's really no reason why, because of our higher rates, that we can't be leaders in energy efficiency as well. And looking to the county to lead by example is what should happen. And we'd like to see more champions on all levels of the Department of Operations, rather than individuals trying to roll that rock up the hill. So if that can filter down and filter up and get more people involved and more information out, then I think that'll be really positive. Because what we're trying to do is project hope, not fear. And with hope there's opportunities. With fear, there's so much misinformation regarding whatever you do. So if there's a glimmer of hope, let's go after that. Let's get it done.
I imagine, although I don't know, that you, in maintaining your facilities, you use a lot of small gasoline-powered tools like mowers, string trimmers, and the like. Do you use, or do you consider the use of electrics to replace it?
No, we haven't considered using electrics to replace any other, gas power equipment that we do have. We've changed over certain types of equipment from tractor mower operations to more lawns to more of the zero turn radius mowers, because they can do it half the time that we used to do it. So instead of having a guy do one field in half a day, he can do the field and knock off 4 fields in a day instead of 2. And we've changed the equipment out, but I would think that there's we would have to do more studies in the technology on equipment to see how efficient energy, electric equipment would be as compared to gas equipment. Maybe you can do, utility cars that might be the same, something like golf carts, rather get, like, gas, go to electricity. And coming, from an equipment company background, I don't see much that are out there, but, technology has changed over the last
Yeah,
4 years.
I just think it's worth a look
You know.
because, small gasoline engines are notoriously inefficient. And, with the price of gasoline, it's probably something that hasn't been looked at, in many years, and it probably deserves another look at this point. So just a suggestion.
Other questions? Let me, when you are looking at a new facility, say you're gonna build a new gym or whatever, do you work with, like, Public Works to do that, or how does that happen?
We're actually doing that right now. I'm at Kohala. We've been working with David, and designing, and we're gonna break ground on a new gym down in Kohala, come next month, actually. So we've been working with Public Works on a project of that size.
So when you have a new facility, it's a collaboration between different departments that occurs, is that right?
Sometimes a project that size, we could use their expertise and, their help and their manpower. I mean, something like the Panama covered clay courts, our guys took it on, all by themselves. It's not quite the size of a gym, but we do use our guys back and forth. Even use their painters to come and paint some of our facilities, cross over and help rather than hire our own set of painters. So we try to use each other as we can.
Right.
Certain projects.
I guess what I'm trying to get to in my mind is what would be an ideal process whereby we're not losing opportunities with respect to implementing energy efficiency improvements. And so there's, it seems like, it's something that gets looked at in different ways, in different areas. Sometimes it's being done by will, independently. Sometimes it's being done in the different departments in association with the new projects that you're dealing with. But is there, in your mind, a way that we could standardize a process such that the county could get the maximum value out of implementing efficiency improvements? Is there any process that you can think of that would help with that? And this goes back to the finance area as well, because ultimately, and I guess I want to ask the question, what role do you play when the finance department plays when it comes time to actually make a decision for an investment in something? And is that just a procurement issue or what?
It's not a procurement issue, it's not a budget issue, but many of the projects they're talking about are actually in the capital budget versus the operating budget. And I would say that we get much more involved in the operating budget portion rather than the capital budget. So when they talk about building new buildings or upgrading facilities, pretty much all of that goes to the capital budget. And Public Works is tasked with pretty much being in charge of all the major construction projects for all of the departments. So they have kind of had to take on that lead role.
So there's a connection obviously between the capital and the operating budgets in that if you spend your capital budget to implement efficiency improvements, your operating budget can go down. Is there a process where that's looked at on a bigger level, like a more of a centralized level in terms of decision making?
I guess the savings, PNR pays their own electric bill. Public Works picks up the electric bills for pretty much most of the rest of the facilities. Wastewater has the other larger electric bills for the sewer plants. But other than that, I mean, each department has been tasked with trying to reduce their budget. And so any type of energy savings they've had so far, they've just kind of reintroduced that back into either more energy savings or other projects. Because the last 4 years, the budget has been much addition to that, you know, we've locked in the 5 electric vehicles that are being utilized and shared by the department.
Can you tell her to keep talking louder? I'm so sorry, you cut out several times, I think we're missing critical bits.
Okay, so then in addition, we're also looking at, you know, whatever type of savings we can get. The electric vehicles are shared as our other vehicles so that, you know, or if you know someone else is going to Kona today, you jump in and go with them. You don't just take your own car, different things like that. We continue to look at bus transportation to help the public reduce fuel costs as well. But many of the specs for like equipment, computers, monitors, and whatnot are spec'd out to be the energy efficient modules and whatnot. But each department is kind of tasked with managing their own budget. So if they do have additional projects that maybe they have to spend money on to save, if they can't afford it in their current budget, then they have to submit a supplemental budget request that we would discuss with the mayor.
So ultimately, that you're saying the decisions that are made regarding procurement of any kind of energy improvement is done at the department level.
Pretty much, yes. The department head kind of makes the decision
Okay.
and goes out to bid on those.
Do you, I guess I'm wondering, and we're just exploring, you know, the ways to find the optimal situation with respect to energy, because that's what we deal with as a commission, is the energy picture. And obviously, you've got many other things that you have to trade off with that. But when we look at a capital investment that's needed to make an energy improvement that's going to return, say, 25% every year of that capital investment, that's not always an easy decision to make on a department level, because you've got a limited amount of funds that you can spend on things, and even if you're going to get 25% of that back every year for the next 20 years, you may not have the capital monies up front to deal with that. And so those kinds of decisions, I guess, are what we're looking at in terms of how can we standardize a decision-making process in the county such that over the long term, we're actually making the best decisions rather than on an annual year-by-year basis. And so it's more of a taking a more comprehensive, longer-term, collective perspective about the investments that are being made. Is there anything that could be provided, whether it's training or education or anything that might help to arrive at a situation where the most optimal decisions are being made in terms of investments of that nature? Is there anything that you can think of that might be helpful in that regard?
I think, you know, the capital budget, just to clarify, is like more of a 3-year cycle than an annual cycle. So, and planning kind of helps to coordinate that as well. But that budget is not actually a funded budget. That's where the bond ordinances or other financing sources come in. And those funds are limited. So the mayor and the finance director directly get involved in helping to prioritize those projects. I am sure not all of those decisions are made on an energy efficient basis, because sometimes it's just based on a public health and safety basis, you know, and what's the greatest priority at the moment. But I can, you know, talk to them about trying to look at different ways to try and make those decisions. I would say that for both public works and parks and recreation, they're both very good at, if they're going into a facility to do repairs anyway, that's when they do the ADA modifications as well as the energy efficiency upgrades whenever possible, trying to maximize the use of all of our dollars, you know, both for the energy efficiency and all the other work that has to get done. So I think they're very good at trying to take that all into account when they are at a facility doing work already, especially if it's a significant renovation project.
We're talking about energy, but are we also talking about water conservation as well? So it's incorporated within the decision making?
We haven't really aggressively gone in the water conservation area. I mean that we try to conserve our funds for what we can spend on the larger items like chillers and cooling towers and stuff like that. That would give a bigger return, at least at the operational level.
Well, for our pools, yeah, we definitely look at, water conservation as well, because, the cost is not only keeping the circulation of the water, maintaining water is also, there's other costs of the chemicals that gotta be, in the well, put back in, so, every time you gotta add chemicals to water to keep the chemistry, at a safe level for health purposes. The water conservation is very important to us. So those considerations are all put in. Thank you.
I think in general, the county's been doing a better job of being more aggressive and searching for routes and whatnot to us, faster and sooner than I think we have in the past.
Yeah, just this past month when I saw our water bill for West Hawaii Civic Center as well as our base yard, it was elevated, so I could ask our guys to go and look for a leak there. So we found a leak in our channel error.
And you asked for earlier about, the measured valuations, something like the water and the electricity with the VFDs and, after taking care of some leaks, certain pools, we see, significant changes in the numbers. Those things can be put out there, and, like you said, getting the story out. Those things can be shared as, if the information is ever asked from us, if we have, some of the information that is out there. Good, thank you.
As an example for the Kohala projects, West Hawaii Civic Center would be one. We did get a silver rating certificate for that building. But what we typically do, because we have limited resources and do not want to spend that additional money to just get certified, we do instruct our consultants that we would like the building, if it's a new building designed to meet silver, if we were to go for a silver, if we were to try and get certification, that we would be able to get a certification on meet silver. So that is the approach we've been taking on all of the new facilities that we design. And some of the examples, things that like solar light tubes, those are amazing how much light that thing can bring in, and especially I'm trying to look at utilizing solar tubes for like the public safety building, because they have a lot of corridors that don't have any lights, so those lights are on 24/7, so at least during the day we can utilize the solar tube.
Any other questions? Is there anything that we can do as a commission that would be helpful to you guys? Is there any recommendations that we could make specifically that would be helpful in the efforts that you're already making? That you can think of?
I think training, helping us find training opportunities, and maybe new technology that's available that we might be able to utilize and incorporate into our buildings, or at least the resources where we can follow up on and see what is the latest, newest chiller or cooling tower that is energy efficient. Things like that would help us be able to better, plan and move forward and try to incorporate energy efficiency into the building.
You guys have any thoughts on that?
I'm just gonna ask Randy, there is money in the base budget for energy projects, and I'm sure you guys have it all kind of allocated already, but is there anything like the engineers or somebody wanting to get more energy training that money could be tapped?
Possibly, right now we have, the mayor has directed some of that money towards project. But if there's some remaining, I think that we could probably work with them. And like what Betsy said, there's Hawaii Energy, that's their role, throughout the state, is to provide training. And I think, given the size of our energy use as a county in general, that I'm sure they'd be willing to do a specific,
Kind of
training, yeah,
specifically
yeah.
for the county.
It'd just be a matter of trying to coordinate with the different departments, or send a representative, that can maybe start off at a certain level and maybe work its way up in terms of the kind of technical things that they talk about.
A lot of it's like a design too, right, the projects, so, but even housing, they'll have stuff off photovoltaic film and whatnot on their website for local and different projects, so.
Yeah, I think Will, for the most part, has been in contact with a lot, with housing or with UPW. So I think going forward, as projects come up, Will is pretty much involved with a lot of that initial planning, initial, discussion of energy, efficiency built into the projects.
You're probably the biggest help would be coordinating training like that.
So is that, just following up on your comment about Will's engagement with the different departments when there are new facilities, is that a standard part of the process, that when a new facility is being thought about or planned, then you include the energy coordinator to think about or to make suggestions regarding efficiency improvements associated with that? Is there any process that you would say exists for that to occur at this point, or?
No, not formally, I believe.
Yeah, there is no formal.
Would that be worthwhile? Will, what do you think?
It's exactly what David said. It's been informal because the first time David and I met were at the West Hawaii Civic Center when he said, you need to do something about the PV. So basically, it was my first week on the job. And then the green team was implemented already, and I got to meet the different departments. So Julie already had some ideas on projects she wanted to do. It's been very informal, but I feel it should be formalized because I think I've met the people who want to do energy, that are energy savvy, and I could list probably what I would consider the next ideal green team. I've talked to Julie about the possibility of maybe her taking a leadership role or a co-leadership role on that, but I think we do need to develop that team and people who are doing these projects like Dave and Ron Deal and traffic and obviously Julie and others. Parks and Rec is going to be a huge place to do energy efficiency.
So what would you suggest as a process for that to occur?
I think that probably because there's an election period going on, I think that a mayor would initiate the process because that's how the process was initiated last time. So in other words, we could do it today. We could do it at the next elect, but it's coming soon. There's no question. So if you say what's the process today, I think Randy as Director of Research and Development would initiate it.
And that would be just to suggest that you be formally engaged when there are new facilities being planned, such that energy can be considered separately.
I think so. There'll be more of a directive from the administration to the different department heads that at any time if there's any projects being considered,
energy comes in and takes a look and see what the best optimal approach might be.
What his recommendations might be to add on or to the plans. So we'll see that maybe for like the final college could and take a look, see, give some suggestions, and put those considerations in. Another thing you might have to consider is on how those bids come in with all the, if we gotta add on energy efficient, items on there, if it blows the bid out of the budget that we have, then we've got to make some decisions if we're gonna add those things in to the project.
Well, at least it's a beginning of the process of making that assessment as far as whether or not it makes sense to introduce those improvements.
I think given, well, if you involve the energy coordinator, he provides his recommendations, but ultimately the department heads would have to make that decision, given their budget, what can and cannot be actually incorporated into the project. Because there's always different levels of, depending on how much you want to spend, obviously, but they all have a budget that you need to stay within too. So, I'd say that would be the best, is to have his recommendations, given new projects.
Or give him an opportunity to make some recommendation.
Does that make sense to you guys?
I think it has to be done early enough in
Early.
the design phase so that
Right.
we're not redesigning.
Absolutely.
having to change orders.
Design phase.
Steve, are we gonna engage in questions regarding transportation issues, concerns, or?
Well, we don't have anyone here from the transportation department today, so that wasn't part of today's plan. But if you have related questions for these departments, certainly feel free, if, they all have transportation issues in the departments as well, so.
Purchasing is aware that they're supposed to be looking for the most fuel efficient models, whenever possible, and electric when possible, because of the use of more work trucks and whatnot, there aren't always a lot of alternatives. Yeah, there's been
Yeah, our inspectors, I think for vehicles, because a lot of times the house or whatever is being built, is not accessible.
But I think what we're finding out is, same thing for property tax when they go out to do the inspections, is that before the thought process was always to buy a 4-wheel drive because they probably didn't need it. And now I think for them, they know what the location is they're going to, and if it is accessible by a smaller vehicle, they will take that. Or they realize when impossible. Not always very impressive.
It's just that our inspectors are always going out there, so they have to have their own vehicle, but they all go their separate ways.
Right, and you guys see a lot of different work sites in one day, versus our guys usually tend to stay in one area. That's probably like,
Did you want to ask
Now,
any?
maybe some general purchasing guidelines, so that there's you're talking about different needs depending on different departments, but could we have specs that say, if you're gonna buy a vehicle, here are the 7 different ones that are acceptable, or is that not realistic?
We cannot restrict the bidding process, so we could come up with our specifications of what we need, but we have to be fair to all vendors involved to their proposal as well. But I think if there are fuel efficient, energy efficient models out there, they are given like a priority or a preference. I would have to check with purchasing for the exact details.
That I think would be really helpful to know, because it might be that decisions are made sometimes by people who aren't in this group, and it's not in the forefront of their mind. And I think every purchasing decision needs to have an energy component related to it. It has moving parts.
Other comments? Anything else before we let our guests go back to work? Any other questions or comments?
Just on vehicles, so you know, when we do these new technology vehicles, sometimes the maintenance has to be done outside of county, so it is like the Honda Civic hybrids have to get their maintenance done by the Honda Civic dealer, and our electric vehicles, fortunately, we struck a 7-year bumper on that. But sometimes that total cost may exceed an internal combustion engine or traditional, just keeping all the awareness there.
Okay, thank you all. We really appreciate you guys coming and helping enlighten us and provide us some insight as to how you deal with things budget-wise. especially energy things, and, thank you so much. We will, we'll discuss this as a group, and following your advice, if there are recommendations we can make to the mayor that would help you guys, that would help energy in general, then, we'll look at doing that. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, we are nearly at our halfway point for the meeting today. I think, let me just ask everyone if they're gonna be able to stay until 1:30.
I have a must leave at 1:15.
1:15, anybody else? I see that we have, is that guy in the shadows over there?
Yeah, guys stuck in there.
Okay, so now we have additional people as far as quorum goes. Does anybody else have to leave before 1:30? Guy does. What time do you have to leave?
He's making a special guest appearance today.
I see.
I need to leave at 1.
1 o'clock, okay. And then we have 1, 2, 3, we still have 5 people. We'll aim for ending at 1:15 just to keep things, fair for everybody. Let's take just a 5-minute break right now, and then we'll pick it up.
How's it, guy?
He's hiding from you. Did he do something wrong in Kumijima? Nah. I guess that was a good time.
I was.
I know. I love
I
those
was-
chips, I never eat on the
Steve.
computer.
He speaks Japanese really well.
Yeah, and then he's been able to network, I guess, throughout the years with a lot of Korean social people, so that means that a lot of, higher level.
Chinese people now.
Yeah. And the Japanese government was really impressed with the national government guy that came down, he was really impressed with the stakeholders buying into, design and
I'll talk to her about that.
or taking forward. It's just a funding issue right now. That's the big deal. So, but they're planning to come to Hawaii next year to do the next workshop. And this year, they have some milestones that they gotta try and accomplish collectively as a group to make sure that this thing keeps moving. So in the meantime, the small projects that are happening in Kona, the Sakai, I don't know what that is, a heat exchanger project, and then the Able Foundation one will be critical, at least bringing OTEC on a global level, like that awareness of that. And then in Kumijima, they're doing like, it was a 500 kilowatt.
500 kilowatt, right? They're looking for.
Yeah, but they all agree, I mean, the Japanese experts and the Lockheed guys on the 10 megawatt is the real pilot. That's the $300 to $400 million, dilemma that they have right now. Who's got $300 to $400 million, right? But I mean, for some countries, this could be the answer because it's firm power, it's clean energy, it's firm, it's in a way where you can even export. I guess the Lockheed model was kind of like the platforms offshore. They have tankers that can actually take hydrogen and move it that way too. So it can be cable connected, or it can be just a deep sea station with barges that come up with tankers.
No shore impact.
Yeah.
Minimal.
Yeah. What's good, we got to, you can met with the governor. Well, isn't a paper in the not national, but Okinawa, Times twice.
Good.
Me and guy sitting down with the governor.
Get it out.
But
media.
yeah, it's the it's awareness really, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then so they recognize they need to do a better job of marketing their efforts globally, because it's only US, Japan right now, but if you get more countries involved, then the amount of money that can come up.
Yeah, because
You come up with that
if
3-4
you need
million.
to develop your expertise, it's easier to get in on the ground floor.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, I mean, it was a good trip. We also worked some agreements on the Umiburo,
Oh, the secret.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that was really, good. So the owner of the Mijima guy that came the other year,
Yeah.
Itsuki, we met with him, one-on-one basis, and then kind of worked it out. So he, obviously, their concern is, as Okinawa, Umiburo Association, or whatever they have, that they don't want to see more stuff coming into the, going to compete with them.
Competition.
But if we can market outside this product,
Yeah.
stay away from Japan, but they have a share in what moves elsewhere, that they're willing to help share their technology and how they grow it up. Oh, I think it's good. You tried that before?
No.
Oh yeah, it's yeah, I did some good pictures of that. So
How long were you guys there?
4 days? No, 3 days only. Fast. So this is like, these are all like
The
big,
trucks.
trucks. But this is not quite ready to harvest yet, but this is when they bring up the and so not all the same color yet. It's not ready yet, but this is ready. So this one was in one of the finishing tanks. So this stuff is ready for harvest. So this one you can just eat on my But
so what kind of?
there's several with Aki, you met her.
Yeah.
She helped a lot to help kind of drive us around and stuff.
She's really nice.
Yeah, her and her husband, they own these large shrimp farms over there.
Hey,
This is what looks like
He-
up close.
you have to take her name.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I met him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the, they give him my shit with his Aki
All
husband.
right. Yeah.
And this Itsuki, this is the guy who owns the Umiburo
Oh, okay.
farm. Young guy, you see, their parents were the pioneers, right?
Yeah.
This brother owns the hotel,
Uh-huh.
the rent-a-car company, the Umiburo, he owns shrimp farm, and the bottle water company.
You get locked in.
He's DeMar, single guy, so he just kind of like, he's just this guy that does. Huh?
So when you
Moving, yeah, I know.
US students.
But yeah, so,
Oh,
this guy, right, so this guy we like bring over here,
Yeah.
and help him,
Yeah. Isn't
those
these
guys,
chips great?
you should
I
recommend
love these.
what the setup
I
should
don't
be
really
like,
barely
at what
eat
scale.
chips. I love chips, but
Oh,
I,
yeah.
but when I come to.
Like just produce X amount, just introduce the space, start off with this, zero,
So, what does Guy think about local marketing?
I don't know, when you go over there, you ask for Umiburo, it just comes on a plate, and then you get your sauce, and you just, hashi, you just take it, dip it, right? That's how they go. It's not necessarily put them on the sushi, but you can.
So it's not like,
It's because it's not loose like caviar, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's on that string, right?
it's not like eating a human salad, right? It's already flavored.
Yeah.
It's French.
Oh,
You just dip it in your whatever sauce.
Yeah, and when the texture and the thing, how when you bite into that fish eggs, you get that whitey taste. Like the same thing. But it's like a vegetarian one.
Right.
Then went to the Kumisen factory. Kumisen, that's their awamori drink.
Yeah.
So on the island they have the factory, but their sales office and distribution site is actually in Naha, in the big city. So we went over there, we went to Naha, went to see those guys over there.
So the last time when the government was there, I went over with help sign out.
Oh, you went over there then?
Kohala.
Oh.
When they were in Kohala last year.
Oh, yeah, right.
Earlier this year.
Oh, when Okinawa government, oh, yeah, so a lot of the people, yeah, because the government ran the workshop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they all came in, so, you probably met, I asked guy, because they all came to Kona, but I never met them. But, yeah, so you really have,
Six people.
Yeah.
There are four government people and five, I think, private companies.
Drink coffee, guys, Penny.
Drink coffee, okay.
Yeah, I can't remember all that.
I can help with that.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Short trip, good trip, wow.
So did you feel like you got some?
Well, I think and we're gonna discuss it right now, but I think we have at least a sense of how it gets dealt with right now in the different departments, and some recommendations that we could make as well, so.
That's pretty much, I think, all we wanted to try and get out of that.
I'm thinking, that's maybe another way Will can use some of that excess PV over at the Civic Center. You have an electric, I'm sure there's grounds maintenance that needs to be done there. Charge the electrics. And this goes through this. And those lithium batteries.
Yeah. Oh,
Not like the batteries of 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And where are we with Wallaby?
It's in the RFP stage. I'm waiting to get comments back from, proposers.
Or you get it's out, right?
You betcha.
Okay,
So,
good.
we're getting, qualifications on October 9th. And then we'll do shortlist by October 30th.
Including battery.
Storage, however you wanna put in storage is storage, and go with some new water tanks.